Point of order, Mr. Chairman. You can't limit debate without invoking Rule 4. You haven't done that.
We have debated.
We've debated on prior occasions when we didn't have a quorum. That vote didn't count. We've got people who are here now who weren't here then who would like to speak.
Can we speak on the other nominees?
Or is your plan just to end all debate today? Is your plan to end all debate? Do you have an answer? You're going to rely on someone whispering in your ear. What's your plan?
No.
No, we're not. Okay, listen, here's the deal. We worked 7 weeks to try to solution the asylum problems. You boycotted the committee.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know if you've left us any alternative but to deny the committee a quorum. I think that's something we ought to seriously consider.
I tell you what,
Mr. Cotton says the chairman needs to rethink his decision and let Senator Cornyn and Senator Blackburn speak. That's what Mr. Cotton says.
The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Chairman, are we going to have an opportunity to speak on the nominees?
Yes, we're going to. Oh, I'm sorry. We've already done that at great length.
Well, I think this deserves some commentary, given the nature of the nominee, and I'd like to ask to speak on the nomination.
Senator, we've debated these two nominees twice.
Mr. Chairman, I would also like to speak on the nomination.
I understand what you'd like to do, but I'm saying that in fairness, we have debated these nominees twice, and I ask the clerk to call the roll.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr.
you're
Chairman.
denying us an opportunity to speak
Come
on a
on,
nominee.
man. I mean,
Third time, no.
okay, do this. Just
We don't
do
have a
it.
right to speak under the rules?
Under the third time, I'd say no.
So you're just going to make it up?
So yeah.
I'd like to
There's going to be a lot of
speak
consequences
I'd like to
coming here.
speak to him, Mr.
You're going to
Chairman.
have a lot of consequences coming if you go down this road.
You better
I've
believe
cautioned
it.
you. I've cautioned a lot of you.
The clerk will call the roll.
Listen to me. I cautioned a lot of you.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Chairman, don't we get the opportunity to speak?
We're in a roll call.
So you're telling us to shut up?
Even though multiple
You
members
want
have
us
asked to
to
speak?
shut up? Is that what you're saying?
A lot of people didn't speak on the 2 nominees before.
We've done.
Would you raise your hand if you did not speak?
I did not have a
Senator Cornyn didn't have a chance to speak.
Senator Blackburn had a chance to speak.
we got several folks, Mr. Chairman, who didn't have a chance to speak.
We want to tell you again why these nominees are awful.
Or in Senator Cornyn's case, tell you for the first time. You're just going to sit there and ignore us?
Senator Blackburn, have you spoken on these nominees?
I've not had the
like
opportunity to
to?
speak. I would like very much to speak on Mr.
Mr. Chairman,
Casaby.
I urge you to let Senator Blackburn speak.
Senator Cornyn as well. Senator Cornyn hasn't had a chance to speak.
That's correct.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. You can't limit debate without invoking Rule 4. You haven't done that.
We have debated.
We've debated on prior occasions when we didn't have a quorum. That vote didn't count. We've got people who are here now who weren't here then who would like to speak.
Can we speak on the other nominees?
Or is your plan just to end all debate today? Is your plan to end all debate? Do you have an answer? You're going to rely on someone whispering in your ear. What's your plan?
No.
No, we're not. Okay, listen, here's the deal. We worked 7 weeks to try to solution the asylum problems. You boycotted the committee.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know if you've left us any alternative but to deny the committee a quorum. I think that's something we ought to seriously
I tell
consider.
you what,
Mr. Cotton says the chairman needs to rethink his decision and let Senator Cornyn and Senator Blackburn speak. That's what Mr. Cotton says. You can mark that down as my vote.
Yeah,
Everybody over there who's not willing to look at me or look at Dick Durbin needs to think about it as well. Mr. Kennedy wants to speak as well. Mark Mr. Cotton down saying Mr. Kennedy needs to speak too.
I'm waiting to be heard on the nominee. I've requested several times to be heard on the nominee.
So now I guess Senator Durbin's not going to allow women to speak either. I thought that was sacrosanct in your party.
Aye. The nomination will be favorably reported to the floor. Up next is Judge Yumi Lee, nominated to the U.S. District Court for the.
Mr. Chairman,
who has not been allowed to speak on that nominee?
Mr. Chairman, you just destroyed
Yeah.
one of the most important committees in the United States Senate.
The chair would note.
And you've set a precedent,
The chair
which
would
will
note-
be repeated every time one party or the other takes advantage and takes the low road.
Chair will note
It
that
sets a
both
precedent
nominees have
that will
been
then
debated twice
become the norm.
Kashibai and-
Congratulations on destroying the United States Senate Judiciary Committee.
Up next is Judge Yumi Lee, nominated to the U.S. District Court for the Northern
Who
District
has
of
not
California.
spoken on this nominee?
Clerk will call the roll.
Will you raise your hand? Look at all these people who've never said a word before you make them vote. Never said a word before you make them vote.
Just going along with it. Just going along with it.
You know,
Mr.
when we were in
Coons
the
said he would
majority,
allow members to speak.
Mr. Chairman, when we were in the majority, we allowed Democrats to speak ad nauseum, at great length. We never did this.
Both of these nominees have had 2 opportunities for speeches by members.
Mr., you have to bring them up again. It wasn't our fault, it's your fault.
Going right along with it.
Mr. Chairman, I hope you're proud of yourself.
Yeah, you really have. I don't know what drives this, Dick. I really don't.
Mr. Chairman, is it you driving it, or is it your staff
Yeah, so
driving
Joe Zogby,
it?
the
Or is
chairman
it
of this
the
committee,
White
or is it
House
you?
driving this? This is completely inappropriate not to let us be heard on these nominations, and you know that.
Your own members have told you to let them speak.
Mr. Cornyn. Mr. Cornyn. Mr. Lee. Mr. Cruz.
This is a complete disgrace.
And maybe you can share
I
with
see
us.
my colleagues over here who understand what goes around comes around.
I mean, this is so unnecessary to ruin the committee over a political exercise that's going nowhere. Senator Whitehouse,
I would like to, was my name called? I can't hear. Where's that voice?
Was he recognized to speak?
We're on a roll call.
Ma'am? I'd like to speak, please.
We're on a roll call.
Mr. Tillis. Mrs. Blackburn.
I'm waiting to be heard on the nominations.
Mr. Coons.
Is this an illegal vote?
Chair Durbin.
So now Joe Zogby is going to dictate to other senators how they're going to vote?
On this vote, the ayes are 10.
The nomination will be favorably reported. We now turn to nominations that have not been debated before the committee, and
It began like any other committee morning, the low hum of staffers, the shuffle of papers, the steady ritual of democracy grinding on in marble chambers. But within moments, order fractured into chaos. The clerk was barely through calling the roll when the first voices rose. "Mr. Chairman, are we going to have an opportunity to speak on the nomination?" came the question from across the dais, measured at first, but urgent. Then from another senator, sharper now. "You're denying us an opportunity to speak?" Dick Durbin, the chairman, sat behind the gavel, his tone deliberate, procedural. "We've debated these nominees twice," he said, his voice carrying the authority of precedent, but also the quiet exhaustion of a man holding back a storm. Then the explosion. "You're just going to make it up?" a voice barked across the room. "There'll be consequences if you go down this road." Another senator joined in. "You're denying us our right to speak under the rules." What followed was not debate. It was eruption. Decorum shattered. Voices collided, overlapping, surging with anger and disbelief. The chamber of the Senate Judiciary Committee, one of the oldest and most powerful in American government, had become a battleground. In that moment, every microphone seemed to catch a different fragment of outrage. "You're telling us to shut up? Is that what you're saying?" shouted one senator. "So now you won't even let women speak?" cried another. Chairs leaned forward. Pens stopped moving. The air grew tight with fury. Across the table, Durbin's voice tried to steady itself above the din. We've debated these nominees," he insisted, but his words were swallowed by the crescendo. "Mr. Chairman," a senator said, "you just destroyed the Judiciary Committee." For decades, this committee has been the heart of American lawmaking, the crucible for Supreme Court nominations, civil rights legislation, and constitutional oversight. But on this day, it looked more like a courtroom where the rule of order itself was on trial. Senators shouted over each other, pounding their frustration into the record. Ted Cruz, Tom Cotton, John Cornyn, Marcia Blackburn, John Kennedy, voices usually united by ideology, now fused into one thunderous demand: let us speak. Durbin's refusal, rooted in technicality, sounded to them like suppression. His insistence that debate had already occurred only inflamed the fury of those who had not yet been heard. The chamber became a portrait of everything America has become, divided not by silence, but by too much noise. "Mr. Chairman," said one voice, almost shaking with disbelief, "when we were in the majority, we let Democrats speak at great length. We never did this." Across from him, Durbin pressed on, mechanical, unmoved. "Both nominees have had 2 opportunities for debate." The gavel struck. The roll continued, but the senators would not yield. "Look around you," someone shouted. "Raise your hands. How many here never had a chance to speak before you make them vote?" The moral gravity of that question hung heavy in the room. It was no longer about judicial nominees. It was about power. Who gets to talk? Who gets to decide? Who gets to be heard in the very chamber built to ensure that no voice goes unheard? "You're ruining this committee," Senator Cornyn declared. "You're setting a precedent that will destroy this body." And in that accusation was a deeper truth, that once a rule is broken, it becomes the new rule. Once fairness is bent for expedience, it never bends back. One senator leaned forward, his tone quieter but cutting. "Mr. Chairman, is it you driving this, or is it the White House?" The question struck like a blade, implying not just mismanagement, but manipulation, a committee hijacked by politics instead of guided by principle. And then came the words that seemed to seal the moment. "Congratulations," a senator said bitterly, "on destroying the United States Senate Judiciary Committee." The hearing room fell into a strange rhythm, half chaos, half resignation. Voices still rose, but the damage was done. Order had given way to resentment. The fragile trust that allows governance to function had cracked wide open. What played out here wasn't just a parliamentary dispute, it was a reckoning, the visible unraveling of institutional patience, of civility, of the shared assumption that rules would be respected by those sworn to uphold them. What we witnessed was not the left versus the right. It was something deeper, the corrosion of the idea that government itself can still be fair. Durbin's defenders would say he was maintaining efficiency, moving nominations forward after endless delay. His critics would call it tyranny by procedure, silencing the minority to secure political wins. Both sides would leave that room claiming to stand for democracy. Yet the sound that lingered was not the defense of principle. It was the echo of fury, of disbelief, of senators shouting not just at each other, but into the void. In the long history of this committee, moments of tension are nothing new. But there was something different in this one, something raw, almost irreversible. When senators accuse their own chairman of destroying the committee, when they threaten to deny quorum, when the very guardians of law accuse each other of illegitimacy, what we are seeing is not just dysfunction, it's decay. The camera could pull back now, wide shot, the marble columns, the flags, the seal of the United States Senate glinting under fluorescent light. You'd see the senators still talking over one another, aides whispering, the chairman staring down at the papers before him, unmoved, unhearing. And you'd realize this is not just politics. This is the sound of a government turning on itself. In the end, the gavel came down. "The nomination will be favorably reported," Durbin said flatly, moving on to the next name as if nothing had happened. But everything had happened. The moment would be replayed in clips, dissected in headlines, echoed in fundraising emails and partisan broadcasts. Yet beneath the spectacle, a quieter truth remained, that when even senators no longer trust the fairness of their own chamber, the republic itself trembles. This is not the Senate of old, where fierce debate ended in handshakes, where rules bound rivals together in shared respect. This is a Senate caught in its own storm, where power replaces persuasion and volume replaces vision. But the story doesn't end here, because democracy, for all its noise, survives only when citizens are watching, only when we refuse to look away. This was not just another hearing. This was a warning. This is Congress' signal. Stay awake, stay vigilant, subscribe, and help us keep the light on truth.